Hi, my name is Kaylin. I've been writing a book, Lovely Goodbyes Filled with Dark Lies, and today I'm going to be trying to introduce and basically promote my book to you guys, so Q&A style, because then it's easier for me to kind of break it down and break down my book basically and explain it more deeply to you guys, what it's about and all that. I've been posting videos for a while on both TikTok and YouTube about it, and I haven't really gone into detail about it yet, so this is basically my video to kind of let you guys know that I'm serious about this. So if you guys want to support my journey, because it's long from over, subscribe and yeah, watch my videos about my book, because I will be making more videos about it. I will be and you guys, if you guys have any questions, let me know, because yeah, I'll answer them, and I'm very responsive. Before I was 13, I did write a little bit, like short stories and stuff. I don't exactly remember what age exactly I started writing. It was just kind of on and off until I was 13. I had a writing assignment in school, as we all do. It was just a narrative, and I wrote a very shorter version of this, and I just kind of hanged on to it. I kept the Google Doc and sent my teacher a copy so I could keep improving it. I really liked it, and obviously it needed a lot of improvement and stuff. I would say it was less than 30k words when I first started it, when I first turned it in, and then I just kept adding on to it and putting all my ideas into it. I definitely didn't stop writing it for most of 8th grade. It was like the beginning of the year when the assignment happened, and I think I finished my first rough draft / final draft. I don't know. And yeah, I added my real account to the Google Doc and shared it with my school account so I could write in school when I had free time on my school laptop, and then write at home whenever I wanted. I honestly didn't have big plans for it. I just knew I loved writing. I got super into it, and I kept improving it, editing it. Why I started writing, though, I honestly have no idea, because I don't know when exactly I started writing. I just know when I hit 13, I became really serious about it. Like, it was basically one of my favorite hobbies. Like, I devoted so many hours towards writing, and while being in school, I'd sit at my lunch table, either I'd read a book or write on my novel. I'm not a very talkative person, if you can't tell already, so it was pretty easy for me to just hanker down and write. And I loved doing it because I liked being able to build my own world and, make up my own characters and just kind of go outside of my world into a different world and build on that. And yeah, and then I finished this one, and then I actually finished a draft of my second one. Obviously it's not even close to done now. It needs a lot of improvement. I wouldn't even print it out right now, because it needs a lot of improvement before I even think about buying a printed copy. And then after I finished a rough draft of that one, I did write a third one, and then I deleted the entire thing because I absolutely hated it. It was bad, in my opinion. I don't know. yeah, I was writing a lot. And then I think I finished not exactly a full rough draft, but I did do a bit of my 4th book. I have not moved on to my other books. I did write a little bit of my 5th book. I never finished it. 6th book, I wrote like 1 chapter, maybe 2. Again, didn't finish it because, you know, I went back to my first one and was like, hey, this could use a lot of improvement. And look at here, it did, because it was like 32,000 words when I finished a full final draft, and now it's at almost 90,000 words. Crazy improvement. My favorite books to read is the same genre as my book that I wrote. Thrillers, mysteries, all that jazz. I did read a few horror novels. I've never really gotten super into fantasy or romance, even though my book does have a little bit of romance. I read a few romance books. I don't know, that's just not my jam. I can understand why people are interested in romance and stuff. It's just not my jam personally. I used to constantly read a ton of French. I love Tana French. In the Woods, Faithful Place. Faithful Place is definitely one of my favorites of hers. Those are kind of examples of my favorite books that I personally love to read. I wouldn't say my books are exactly like them. Yeah, no, I don't think my books are really like hers. She just has like the descriptions down too. She just has them down, and I'm so jealous that she can be that descriptive without going overboard. You know, I really love how descriptive she is. She can put like a whole image in your head and you'll be so satisfied with it. If you guys have not read her, you guys should, because she definitely got me into writing better descriptions. They're not as great as hers, but I'm trying. So some of my hobbies outside of writing include gaming. I do have a gaming channel. You guys are gonna be very upset when you guys find out I haven't posted on there since last year. But if you guys do want to check that out, I will link it below. I do some horror games over there, some Roblox. Yes, I am a Roblox kid as of 2019. Yeah. I feel like I'm at one of those AAA meetings. Anyway, and then pretty much reading. Like I said before, I read quite a bit, and then yeah, I don't really do too much hobbies. I do like to watch movies and stuff. One of my strengths in writing, I feel like, is definitely character development and world building. I feel like I'm pretty good at those. I can give myself a pat on the back. I don't know, I feel like I built my characters pretty good. I have the connection with each and every one of them. So I think I was pretty good about building my characters and their backstory and all of that, you know, adding a little bit of mystery behind some of them. And then my weakness definitely gotta be describing stuff and dialogue. I feel like sometimes I struggle with dialogue and describing. Sometimes I can be good. It's kind of a hit or miss thing with me. Sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes I'm not. My writing pet peeve is definitely misusing AI. You know, I get why people use AI, and I'm not fully against it, but using AI to write for you is just wrong, should not be allowed. And then grammar mistakes, like the your and your difference. I hate it when people misuse them. I haven't read a book where it's wrong, but I can assure you, mine will not have that, okay? I'm making sure it does not have those confusions, you know? I get it when you're like young, like in elementary school, but why? Why are you doing that now in high school? What? Or college. I've heard stories about people doing it in college. When I was in 8th grade, you know, I was just kind of the loner girl who sat at the table and read and then later wrote. And books was my way of getting through that, you know, my way of telling myself, hey, I'm not alone. You know, it's kind of dumb, but, you know, being transferred to a different world, like, helps me get out of my own head, you know, because I was super insecure and I was anxious. I had social anxiety really bad back then, and I thought I was doing everything wrong all the time. And my books were my way of getting through that and getting out of my head. And I want my book to have that effect on people as well, you know, so that's what motivates me. My dream of becoming a best-selling author, that's my dream. I hope to get there one day, and if not, you know, I know that there are people who are gonna read it, and I hope that they get transferred to a different world where they don't have to be in their head. They can be somewhere completely else, and they can watch these made-up characters go through the same thing that they go through. Watch them get through it and realize, hey, I can do the same thing. I can actually get past it, you know? So I think that's what motivates me the most in writing, is the thought that people someday will read my book, hopefully, and how inspiring it can be and get out of their own head, you know, because that's the worst thing when you get in your head. It's worse because I think we all do it. So first thing people should know before they start writing is that it is not easy. You know, some people may think, oh, you're just typing words on a page, but no, that's not exactly what I'm doing. I'm actually turning those words into something. I'm making them mean something to my readers, you know? I'm not just typing random words and being finished and sending it to somebody. No, I want to make sure it improves and make sure it gets better and make sure I'm not going to say the word perfect because it's not going to be perfect. Perfectionist, it hurts for me to say that, but yeah, it won't be perfect. But you know, I want to make my words mean something, and a lot of writers want to do this, so it's not easy when you want to make something perfect, but you know you can't make it perfect. Like, this is not going to be perfect. Not for everybody. It's not going to be loved by everybody, and I know that, but I'm still going to try to make sure that it's loved by a lot more than it's hated, you know, and that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do that. For example, it's taken me 3 years and I still have a buttload of sticky notes in there, and I'm not even finished with this book yet. I'm not finished. So there's gonna be more mistakes. There's gonna be more tiny little plot holes that probably aren't even gonna mean anything to you guys who are reading it, but it means something to me because I want to make sure you guys have the best reading experience. And yeah, like I said, it's not easy to get there. You know, you want to have the perfect map, and if you're writing fantasy, oh my gosh, I have so much respect for fantasy writers. You guys make an entire new world. This book I'm writing is based off a city, Boston, Massachusetts. That's what it's based off of, a world that's already created. You guys are making an entire new world with your noggin. I can't even do that, you know. I did it once, it was fun, but I did not make an entire world. I just made up a random city. I wrote this stupid horror novel, horror short story actually, that was based off of a town that I completely made up, and it was so easy to make up one city, but you guys to make up an entire world, that, I have respect. I have respect for you guys, because that is crazy to me. Just keep that in mind when you start writing, because you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna get writer's block. It took me a few years to get writer's block for the first time, and it sucked. I was blocked for a while. I was like backed up. You know, I will encourage you guys to try it, because once you guys get your rhythm, you guys will write a lot, and you guys will write great. So if you are doubting yourself about starting one, go ahead and do it. You have all the time in the world. You do not have to get it published right away. You know, you might not publish it tomorrow. You don't need to publish it tomorrow. Just write. Okay, now let's get into my actual book. I feel like all we've been doing is talking about me, so let's actually get into my book. There are 3 mostly main characters, but the story is about one of them. His name is Gavin Farway. He, like these other 2, are 27-year-old car mechanics. There was not a certain reason why I wanted to make them car mechanics. I just thought it would be cool and fun, so I did it. You know. And he lost his parents at the age of 12. And he never really got to properly cope with it. He used alcohol and weed to get over it when he was 13, and he basically got addicted to the feeling of being numb, and he kind of became emotionally blocked up. He doesn't know how to cope properly now that he's quit. He has a lot of character growth. His friend Henny, he is one of my most interesting characters. He's naturally just kind of the tough guy in every single situation. He's basically trained into not feeling at all to protect himself. He believes that emotions are used as weapons against him, so he flat out refuses to feel at all. That's his way. He has 2 older brothers. He does not talk to them because they are just like his biological father. He has a different mother as them. I do not disclose what happens to his mother because it's supposed to be a mystery about what happened to his mother. And he hates his father. Whenever Hemi was upset about his father would basically make fun of him for it and throw at his face and all that. He's honestly one of those characters that will make me laugh at such the silliest stuff just by the way I write him. Like, he'll just say the most random out-of-pocket stuff in a tense situation, and it's just like, dude, it just makes me laugh because it's just so out of pocket. I know I'm the one that wrote him to say that, but still, it's so out of pocket that I'm just like, that's funny, but it's so random. You know, so yeah, he's one of my most interesting characters. It's very hard to write him. He's definitely one of my hardest characters to write because I have to focus on him showing no emotion, and that's a lot harder than it sounds, you know, because you're so used to writing a character to have feelings. The only thing he actually feels is anger in certain situations. He only feels anger. When he's supposed to be upset, it's anger that pops up, not sadness, you know. And then Peter, he's also friends with Hemi and Gavin. Gavin met Hemi and Peter in high school, first year of high school. And then Hemi and Peter knew each other before that. They knew each other a lot longer, so they're closer. Anyway, Peter, he has a lot of anxiety. He lost somebody really young and never quite got over it, and he had to unfortunately witness it. And he has constant PTSD, anxiety. But outside of that, he's normally the calm one. Like in a situation that would usually have somebody road raging, for example, he would be calm. You know, he refuses to outburst because his mother used to be called a crazy person, and he does not want to be called crazy, so he stays calm all the time. If he's put in a tense situation, he will be the one that will panic, have panic attacks, anxiety, all that jazz. But he's also the type of person to care about other people's feelings and other people's thoughts more than himself. He doesn't defend himself in situations. He would rather just avoid it, which obviously isn't the best way to go about it. But yeah, he's basically like the kind and friendly one in the group, you know. And then William, he is the antagonist. I'll explain why later. He is a police detective. He's I think he's like 36, 35. I think that's his age. He is a police detective. He is very smart. He's also very professional. I feel like he tries to be very professional about his job. He's very serious about his job. He's very passionate about it. But outside of his occupation, he does not have much of a social life or any sort of life at all. He revolves his entire life around work, and I don't know, I would call him kind of a workaholic, to be honest. That's the best description I can give of him. Editor Kaylin here. So I had a bit of an issue while making this video. Some of the footage that was made all at once for this video was unfortunately lost. So I'm gonna tell you now what my book is actually about. My book is about a man whose girlfriend is unexpectedly accused of the murder of Xander Lee, a rich person in Boston who is most known for being hated due to his questionable reputation. My main character, Gavin, has never heard of this man and decides that he is going to prove that Penny is innocent because he strongly believes that she is innocent. And it turns into a battle between truth and lies. He is faced with many challenges, including Detective William Otterton, who is on the said case, is trying to actively stop him from figuring out the truth. And I do want to explain why William is the antagonist instead of the killer. The killer is not directly causing problems to the protagonist. I mean, they are behind the entire plot, you know, but they are not face to face causing problems for Gavin, my protagonist. And William is. He is actively stopping him, actively putting roadblocks in his way, you know, doubting him, you know, all of this, and they end up becoming more enemies of each other. And I think that makes him more of an antagonist. I don't know, you guys can give your opinions based on what you forgot. Makes him more of an antagonist than the actual killer, which is really ironic because he's not actually doing anything illegal, you know. And it doesn't have to be that way where the antagonist has to be doing something illegal to make them an antagonist. No, it doesn't have to be that way. There are many protagonists who are doing stuff illegal, including my protagonist. He is compromising an investigation, you know, that's illegal. Okay, my least and favorite characters. So I gotta start with my favorite. It's gonna be really ironic for you guys. It's gotta be either Hemi or William. I know, interesting choice. Hemi and William are very fun characters to write. Hemi is a lot more complicated, like I said before, but I still enjoy writing him. You know, and William, he's kind of like me in some ways, and that's what I like about it. I feel, even though I can't describe it to you guys very well, but he reminds me of myself. Okay, and then my least favorite character, gotta be Gavin, man. In my personal opinion, he's kind of a jerk. In my personal opinion, I won't say why I think he's a jerk, because I want that to be up to you guys when you guys do finally get to read it. He just gets very defensive when it comes to people insulting or calling him out, insulting his like loved ones, like even if it's like a minor thing, you know, he'll get really nasty and he'll cross the line, which is really ironic because, you know, he's my protagonist. I wrote him that way, and I kind of like him that way because it shows that he has character flaws. Honestly, I do not have a specific time for publishing. I feel like I kind of answered this question before, but I am going to confirm with you guys on I do not plan on rushing with publishing, as much as I know some people have commented and said, hey, where can I buy this? You know, I want to give it a chance to have a lot of people backing it up, you know, backing it up on its release before I publish it, because I do want this book to do well before I publish it, you know. I want to be sure that it'll do well, you know, and like I said before, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but I do want it to do well. I will update you guys on publishing though. I will 100% update you guys whenever I have updates on publishing. I plan on writing a series. It's gonna, so far it plans to be around 6 books. I might do more. And honestly, if you guys have any suggestions on book series names, let me know, because I cannot come up with one, you know. Yeah, the most consistent stuff in these books is there's like some sort of crime, like murder or missing persons, you know, all that stuff, and there's definitely always police involved, and it's always, the setting is Boston for all these books, you know. So if you guys can come up with a series name, let me know, you know. I'll take anything at this point, because I've been struggling really bad on that. I feel like I already answered this question, but I'm gonna make it very, very, very clear to you guys. This book contains no AI. I do use the M dashes, okay? It's not illegal. I do use them, and it's only because whenever I use the normal dashes in Word and I have to read it out loud, because I like to do that, it'll say the word dash out loud, but when I use the M dashes, it does not. I do not use AI to write an entire book for me. I do not believe in that. I worked really hard on this book. Please do not accuse me of using AI. Please. I feel like there are a couple things that make my book stand out, but I'm gonna start off. My book switches point of views a lot, you know. I feel like in most books it doesn't. So there's first person, Gavin, and then that's most of it. But it does switch to the victim, Xander. It does switch to him before his murder, so you kind of get what he's doing before his murder. And then it switches point of view to his mother at one point after his death. And it switches to William a lot. He's like, and then it switches to Killer and a few other point of views that I will not say out loud because I will kind of spoil it. But yeah, there are a lot of point of views, and it does switch to Henny at one point as well. So if you like first person books or you like third person books, you are going to like this book. I feel like if you guys like a mix of both, or you guys like one more than the other, you know, then you'll like this book. If you hate first person, then I'm sorry, and if you hate third person, then I'm also very sorry. But it has a mix of both, and I feel like that makes my book stand out a lot more. And honestly, the plot, I feel like it stands out a lot more. Like, so it's a dark street with street lamps, and you guys may wonder why I picked this book cover. And so when I was first assigned that narrative, I actually took a walk alone outside, and I personally live on like a really deserted type of street. There's not much going on all the time. It's a dirt road. There are street lamps. And I was walking when I started thinking about my book, you know, what I was gonna write for that assignment. I got really into it. I kind of wrote in my head a little bit about what was gonna happen, what the plot was, and all this yada yada. And yeah, so the street lamps thing is not only how I came up with my book, but it does resemble something in the book itself. I'm not gonna say it because it does give a bit away, but it resembles something actually in the book. I added in the book, so it does resemble something in the book, but it also resembles how I thought of the book, you know, in the first place. So yeah, that's why I chose the street lamp vibe, you know, and I really like it. Yeah, I'm also working on a different book cover, hardcover. My protagonist likes to draw, and he creates this piece thinking about making it my hardcover, maybe. So I'll let you guys know updates on that. Gavin, I would say determined, and then Peter, I would say he is welcoming, kind, or anxious. And then Hemi's stubborn. This is one of the questions I was really excited about. So Gavin's songs to me are What Would You Do by Cedar and Gavin Rossdale. Love that song. If you guys have not listened to that song, you need to go and listen to it. And then also Rise Above This by Cedar. If you can't tell, I'm a big Cedar fan. I love Cedar a lot.
This is a hard question because there are a lot of things I really enjoyed writing. I gotta say it's definitely between William. I love his character. I feel like I built him pretty okay. I know one of my beta readers said that he does not seem realistically like a cop, and I can agree to some extent, but I like to add a little bit of flaws to my characters, and I feel like I've toned it down a bit, but he does still have some normal human flaws. You know, cops don't have to be like completely professional, which I try to keep William professional most of the time because he likes to be professional. He cares about his reputation. Anyway, I just really enjoyed writing him, and I enjoyed writing Hemi as well. You know, it's not very often I get to like write, you know, so nonchalantly, you know. Hemi's one of my most nonchalant characters. And then definitely just plotting the entire thing, you know. My book required a lot of plotting and required a lot of rewrites because of how like insane the plot kind of was. I have toned it down, but it was kind of complicated. My next steps definitely include finishing editing. I'm going to be receiving a lot of edits back from family and friends, so I'm definitely gonna get back into editing again. Edit again, and then I'm definitely gonna ship it off to a beta reader. Last time I did a female one, I loved her. She was great. I'm definitely going to be doing a male this time though. It's just so I can get that male feedback and perspective because it is written mostly a male point of view. After beta reading another edit and possibly looking for agents or publishing companies, you know, trying to send it around and see how it does with all the edits. I have no idea how long this is going to take, by the way. Like I said before, I do not have a planned schedule for publishing. I'm just kind of going with the flow.
Descriptions and I forgot the other one. What is wrong with my brain? I literally just said it. When something is caught to be AI, it should be plagiarism. Cannot believe you guys can do that. So yeah, tops off for you guys. Hats off for you guys, not tops. Do not take your tops off.